Hey guys, with Infernity Talk today, I wanted to talk about the side deck for an Infernity deck. You know, it isn't the same as a regular side deck because Infernities play with no hand, so you can't really have that many monsters in the side deck. Now, if you've seen my deck profile video, you'll know what cards are in my side deck. And so today I'm just going to be going over my side deck and why I did the choices that I did, and eventually I'll probably put up another video about cards that can go in an Infernity side deck. So first off, I've got 3 Rykos. The reason I put this in here is because Dark Worlds are kind of popular. They're like tier 1.5 maybe, and so people are still going to be prepared for them. And Zector is all that. They're all a dark deck. Now that means that people are going to be running Shallow Imprisoning Mirror, and that totally shuts down the Infernity deck because we need our effects, even the ones that activate in the graveyard. So that's why I put this in here, because it kind of gets around that, because it's a light monster, and using a light monster I can destroy the Speller Trap, or the Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, and take it out. Also, cards like Jinzo has even been played up against me. You probably aren't going to see a Jinzo being played in a side deck. Maybe Frogs, but Jinzo does happen. I've hit a Jinzo with a Ryko before. And along with the Rykos, you've got the Charger Light Brigade, that one Charger Light Brigade. Now what these also do is allow you to mill cards. Now even if you don't think your opponent's going to be siding in any of those, or even if you're expecting them to side into something different, you probably will want to side in your Rykos and your charge, because what they do is they get those monsters into the graveyard that you need eventually. And it slows the game down just a little bit, because it destroys that monster that's going to attack you, and you set it so you're not really going to be going off that turn, and even if you do, you got that one line of backup. And so it just makes it for a slower game too. And that's what you need in Infernities, because it's all about the grind game with this deck. So that's why I put the Rykos in here with the Charger Light Brigade. Next I put in a Droll and Lockbird. Now, in case you don't know what Droll and Lockbird does, I'm not going to waste minutes explaining what it does, but you should go look it up on Wikipedia or something like that. But it's level 1. I don't know if you can see that from the camera. And I put that in there because of Exodia. A while ago when I went to a tournament, I lost to an Exodia FTK deck. And so really the only reason that that's in my side deck right now is to stop that Exodia matchup, because I'm really butthurt over that Exodia matchup. I mean, it was ridiculous. He literally FTK'd me twice. He rendered that anyway. So it may also help with decks that draw a lot. For instance, Dark Worlds. It could help with Dark World matchup. But usually you might not see that in Infernity side deck. Maybe a DD Crow would be in place of this. Well, that's that. I've got the Heavy Storm and the Mystical Space Typhoon. Those are ones that aren't in the main deck. And the reason Heavy Storm's in the side deck is because your opponent, they're probably going to be running Dimensional Fissure. They're probably going to be running Macrocosmos. And you want to get rid of all those. And your Spell and Traps, you could possibly side out there in game 2. Just in case you get a Royal Decree played on you. And you're not running this in the main deck because game 1, you don't want to really destroy your Spell and Traps, because that's what's bringing you that grind game that you need so much. And along with this, the MST and the side deck is really a player choice. I choose to run only 2 so that I have room for other cards. But there are those. There's Goes in Match. Now, a while ago I confused Goes in Match with Rivalry of the Warlords, and it really screwed me over. But this is the one that limits the attributes that are played, and so that's good against windups and Six Samurais. And so that's why that's in here, because you know everybody knows that windups and Six Samurais are pretty popular decks. Windups being the most popular. I put in a Mind Crush. This works against spellbooks. This works against anything that really adds cards. You can hit that shark when they reveal it for its effects. You can just do a lot with this card. It hits a lot of really good cards. Sometimes you can hit gates if you know that it's in their hand, and it makes you discard a card, so that's always good. I don't know the ruling if you can play that where you have no cards in your hand. Comment below if you know that, but it might. I don't know. It makes sense that you wouldn't be able to, but you know, oh well. I've got Double Dust Tornado because it's the spell and traps that really hurt you in game 2. I can deal with the Thunder King. I've learned to adapt to Thunder King and get rid of it as fast as possible, and so I'm really not concerned about monsters as much as I am spell and traps like Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure. But that's why these are in here. Those are in the side deck because it can get rid of those cards that you just really don't like. And it can also set a spell and trap. If you don't know that, for its second effect is you can destroy a spell or trap card on the field. And its second effect is that after you've destroyed that, you can set a card from your hand. And so that kind of comes in handy if you want to activate a trap card during your next turn. Like if you activate this during your opponent's turn, you set your trap card, and the next turn you want to activate it. And so that's why that's in there as Dust Tornado. Next, I've got Needle Sealing for the obvious reason, wind-ups. And sometimes I even take advantage of the fact that Infernities spam. And so what that means is that if you have 2 cards on your side of the field, you only have to worry about your opponent getting out 2 cards, and then you can activate Needle Sealing. Or if you have 1 card, or even if you have 4 cards, if you have 4 monsters on your side of the field, you can activate it any time you want. Doesn't matter how many monsters are on your opponent's side of the field. So everybody knows Needle Sealing is a good side card this format, especially with wind-ups. But it's also in there for the 6 Samurai matchup and the Dark World matchup. Not that it does a lot against Dark Worlds, but it can spare you that extra turn that you need. Now next is the MVP of the side deck, and that is going to be Debunk. I run 3 Debunks because it can get over Shark, it gets over Grapha, it gets over any Dark World card, which is this deck's worst enemy, by the way. Besides that Exodia deck, which Exodia sucks. Anyway, Debunk targets in the graveyard and in the hand. So if your opponent wants to activate a DD Crow, say they're running Mystic Piper, if they want to activate a DD Crow, no, you can't do that because I've got Debunk. They want to activate Max C, they want to activate Effect Veiler, it gets over all those, and that's really important to get over Max C and Effect Veiler. At one point I was thinking about main decking 1 or 2 of these because it's just such a versatile card, and the fact that everybody's going to be running Max C or Effect Veiler. And that kind of relates to the reason I'm running 2 Bottomless in my main deck, because everybody's going to be running a deck that summons a monster with 1500 or more. But anyway, back to Debunk. Debunk's just a really good card in Infernities, especially in the side deck, because it stays in your hand. It's like a DD Crow. It stays in your hand until you need it, and you play it whenever an opponent's going to activate something that's really going to affect you that you don't want it to affect. So there's Debunk, and comment below if you liked the side deck, if you have any ideas for the side deck. Later on I'll do another video, maybe eventually, of other cards you can put in the side deck, because this is just my side deck that I have for my own deck. There are plenty of other cards that you can put into a side deck that you would prefer other than the cards that I have. There are better cards out there that you can put into a side deck. I know for a fact that a lot of people really like to put DD Crow in the side deck for Infernities. Personally, I don't like that just because I like to stick to the having no hand, and I really don't like to have any clogged hands with the Infernity deck because it really needs to be as fast as possible in today's meta. And it's as versatile as possible too, and that's why I think that Debunk comes in play there, where if you have DD Crow, it gets over Maxi and Effect Veiler, and DD Crow can't do any of that. So comment below what you guys think, any suggestions, and tell me what I can do to make these videos better, to make it better to watch. And just put that in the comment section. Maybe PM me if you want. Yeah, that's going to be today's episode of Infernity Talk with Yu-Gi-Topia. I'll talk to you guys later.